Tonight at 6, we are still digging out from all of the snow that we got over the weekend, but take a look at this. This is live Doppler 13 radar, and when you look at this, you can see that there is more snow that's headed our way. So we kick off tonight in the Weather Center with Sean Ash, who's going to break down what we need to know, the timing and the estimated accumulation ahead of
and look, I'm giving the PSA right now. You know, don't be disappointed when you go out the door tomorrow morning, because the snow's not going to be there. It'll be latter half of the day here. So I want to show you that radar view again, Anne-Marie, because it's not often that you see a winter storm warning that goes from the Texas Panhandle all the way to the shores of the Atlantic Ocean, and that's exactly what we have here, nearly 1,500 miles. So again, the winter storm warning is where the roughest snow, I mean, we're going to have probably some double-digit snow totals across parts of Arkansas, possibly into Tennessee. But look at all of that blue covering up Indiana for tomorrow. It's just, again, not going to be here in the morning. A lot of clouds around, might have some flurries around. But a good portion of this really doesn't get going until about the middle part of the day. It starts earlier west and gets here around 11, 12 o'clock in the metro area. Takes longer east, but eventually it will get there here. And then we're just going to have a snowy Friday afternoon and evening. Let you know how much to expect. We'll break down that weather impact alert day here in just a few minutes.
All right, Sean, thanks so much. Tonight, some neighborhoods here in Indianapolis are still digging out after the heaviest snow that we've seen here in our community in a few years. As Sean just showed us, even more snow is expected to arrive tomorrow. So today, our Karen Campbell talked to Indy DPW about how they plan to respond to winter storms ahead based on how they've done so far.
Indy DPW crews have been hard at work, plowing snow and treating about 4,000 lane miles of thoroughfares and secondary streets. But 13 of their 70 trucks were sidelined due to mechanical issues.
Now we're pushing this equipment really hard. These are 35,000-pound trucks, and we're running them around the clock. Issues are bound to happen. In January 2024,
the city operated about 80 trucks. Kyle Bloyd with Indy DPW says less trucks isn't a budgetary issue.
We have invested millions of dollars over the years to renew our fleet. We inherited a fairly old fleet. We've received new trucks, I believe, each of the last 2 years as well, and we want to keep that number up.
13 News checked with the Department of Public Service in Columbus, Ohio, a city similar in size to Indianapolis. A spokesperson told us they have about 100 trucks clearing 4,600 lane miles of snow.
We do have a CDL program where we will help people get their CDL and reimburse them for that, and that's been very helpful in us getting more drivers on the road. But you got to attack every snowstorm differently, and so you got to manage between your available staff, the other needs of the city. We can't just stop doing everything else in the city.
Crews will soon have to gear up to repair potholes.
Once we get through the snow, we'll be able to go to cold mix filling, and then eventually when the temperatures warm up and the hot mix plants open back up and we're able to get our hands on the material, it'll go into the streets.
A reminder for drivers to be prepared for the return of potholes. In Indianapolis, Karen Campbell, 13 News.
The fleet crews are also working to get as many of those trucks back out on the road as possible. Again, the snow is expected to come around noon on Friday. A woman we learned today will spend a year in prison for her role in a shooting at a gas station on the east side. It happened right after a group of people shot a music video with guns at that very gas station. Rich Knight takes us inside the courtroom today for sentencing of 2 people who appear in that video.
The music video titled "Keep Shooting" was recorded February 17th last year at the Phillips 66 Crystal Flash gas station at 34th and Shadeland. That same night, police say 5 people were caught on surveillance video firing guns as they left the store. A bystander sitting in a van was shot in the shoulder. 22-year-old Trenisa Fennell took a plea deal for having a gun as a serious violent felon. That's Fennell on the right in the music video.
Do you understand what is contained in the written plea agreement?
Yep.
Do you understand that you don't have to plead guilty to any criminal charge today?
Yep.
Fennell pleaded guilty and received a sentence of 1 year in prison plus 2 years home detention and a year of probation. 23-year-old DeJuan Jones is the featured artist in the video. He also took a plea deal, getting half a year probation for criminal recklessness. 4 adults were charged in this case. All of them have now been sentenced under plea deals, with the exception of Nathaniel Thompson. His case is still pending, due back in court later this month. At the Marion County Community Justice Campus, Rich Nye, 13 News.
This week, 13 Investigates is taking a closer look at what happened inside 3 healthcare facilities that were shut down by the state of Indiana, and also new concerns that those rehab centers may soon reopen. There are hundreds of people from central Indiana that traveled to these places to receive treatment. Last night, we introduced you to some of the former patients who explained the horrible conditions, and we showed you how the company that owns the treatment centers moved out of their corporate headquarters and now will not answer our questions. Now 13 Investigates has learned the business is taking steps to reopen some locations, despite hundreds of reported problems that led the state to shut them down. Tonight, we're going to show you why they could reopen, and investigative reporter Bob Siegel is going to show you why some state officials do not want to talk to us about this investigation.
You have nothing to say about this at all?
I have nothing to say to you.
13 Investigates. What happened inside? It's new information from our year-long investigation. It's tonight at 11 o'clock. And if you would like to see all of Bob's conversation with the state and hear from those former patients, and you want to hear all that right now, you can do so by going to WTHR Plus and stream the full investigation. It's available for you right now on demand. We are now 2 days into this year's legislative agenda, and lawmakers from both parties are laying out their agendas. 13 News State House reporter Emily Longnecker heard from state Democrats about a bill filed in the House that is garnering a lot of attention from lawmakers and their constituents. What do you got, Emily?
That bill we also talked about yesterday is House Bill 1136, and basically it proposes that the state take over school districts where more than half the students living in that district go to school outside of it. Republican State Representative Jake Teschka authored the bill. Teschka sent 13 News a statement last week which said in part that he wrote the bill to try and find solutions in school districts he believes are failing students. 5 school corporations with declining enrollment numbers, including IPS, are listed in the bill. If it becomes law, the state would dissolve school districts where more than half the students living in that district go to a school outside of it. Those schools would then be turned into charter schools with a new 7-member board overseeing them. The governor would appoint 4 of those board members.
This is just a further evisceration of public education in Indiana. Our goal is to ensure that that bill never sees the light of day.
Democratic Senator Andrea Hunley, a former IPS educator and principal, said lawmakers have been hearing from parents who live in school districts listed in 1136. Some lawmakers have suggested 1136 could be a way to force a compromise in this budget session, one that would see public school districts sharing more property tax revenue with charter schools.
Sending entire communities into a panic is not the way to come to a negotiating table. That is not good faith. My own child came home from school, her high school in IPS, a district that she's been a part of for 11 years, worried about whether or not her school would exist next year. The kids in her classroom at the cafeteria table were talking about this. That is not the way to negotiate in good faith, and that's not how we do legislation here in Indiana. So pretty strong words there from Democratic Senator Andrea Hunley herself, an IPS parent. We will certainly be following developments on 1136 throughout the session and bring them to you here at the State House. Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
The Indiana State Fair is coming up, just 8 months away, and this week, one major ambassador officially named for 2025. Meet this year's Miss Indiana State Fair next.
Several homeowners in Noblesville tonight are looking for answers after Duke Energy told them decades-old trees are going to be wiped from their property. We'll explain what's going on and what the company is now saying. Still ahead.
And more snow to shovel on Friday. We're timing that out and how much to expect in your forecast.